Let's call to order the Flood Control District meeting. Today is Tuesday, June 10th, 2025. We're meeting in the Board of Supervisors hearing room in Melody Lane in Bisbee. Pursuant to ARS 38431.02H, public will have access to the meeting room 15 minutes prior to the start of the meeting. Any item on this agenda is open for discussion and possible action. Members of the Board of Supervisors will attend either in person or via Microsoft Teams. Members of the public may also attend this meeting via Microsoft Teams or the mobile app. The board may permit public comment during the discussion of any item on this agenda. To speak to an agenda item, complete and return the speaker request form to the clerk of the board by 9 a.m. on the day of the meeting. We'll begin with a roll call. District 1.
Crosby's here.
District 2.
Gomez is here.
District 3. Antonori is here. All supervisors are present and in person. First thing is a call to the public, and we do have two speakers. The first one is Jack Ricky Viel. What is it? Veal. Oh, like the calf.
Just like a young cat.
All right, sir. Sir, you have 3 minutes.
Thank you. Yes, sir. Thank you, board members and staff, for allowing me to speak today. I am not a public speaker, but I'll do the best I can with what I have. What I want to talk about is the Bisbee Affluent Project. I have some notes and I have some references, and you're more than welcome to the references once I finish. I'd like to say thank you to talk with me about the Bisbee Affluent Project for us. The question is there such a concern about protecting the San Pedro River? Why? Because why are the decisions being made to dump effluent into it? An internet search leads us to several articles of interest that are, I've got the articles below, is pasted below. There are two active issues at play. Here are sewer problems, and that hasn't been corrected over many years, and the reduced water flows along the San Pedro River. Ranchers along the San Pedro River know why, have a really good idea. They've had over 100 years. I talked to one of the ranchers. His family has been there over 100 years. If somebody would listen to him instead of the kids from college, then they'll find out the real reason why there's not water flowing on top of San Pedro River. It is flowing underneath, but not on top. His name is John Isaacson. If you could take just a few minutes and talk with him, if nothing else, you're getting a lot of history. It's incredible information that he has. And why does the river, he'll explain why the river flows past 92 but not before, because this project, the Affluent Project, is to get water flowing from the border wall to the bridge. And that's, in itself, by the basis, nothing else known. That's good to have water flowing on top, but there's some issues. I have concerns about the Bisbee Affluent Recharge Project. Has the county conducted any meetings with the people whose wells will be affected by this project in Palominas? I don't think so. I'm out there. Been out there over 30 years, and I've not heard of anybody holding a meeting telling us what they're getting ready to do with that project, which will affect the water coming from our wells. Considering the known existence of forever chemicals in wastewater that cannot be removed, should local residents be made aware of Cochise County working to inject these pollutants? And this is a lot of pollutants, and I got some facts, not just theory. The Arizona State Law Journal in 2022 notes that the majority of rivers in the Southwest are dry for part of the year, and even when appearing dry, water flows beneath the surface of the porous ground around the riverbanks. The article also notes that according to the Clean Water Act, pumping effluent into the river is the same as pumping raw sewage into it. Even though it's been treated once or twice, it's still the same as putting raw sewage in there, and that is going to percolate down to our water, to our wells. Although the Environmental Protection Agency does assess the health risk of pollutants in the biosludge, human and biosolids, essentially it can contain anything that goes down a sewer in.
Yeah.
Really?
So
I got some good stuff here.
Yeah, that's do me a favor, sir. If you would email your statement to the three of us.
I can.
Yeah, that'd be good.
I'll email the statement and the links to it. Basically, we're going to be drinking cancer-causing products if y'all allow this project to happen and pump into our river.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you for your
Mr.
time.
Chair.
I'll email. I do need your addresses, all of you. I got his. He's my representative. I do need yours.
All right.
The cards, I think, don't we?
It's Antonori at
Yeah.
cochise.az.gov, and
K. Gomez, but our cards are
Cards
out
will be
there.
right out there, correct?
yeah, and you can get our business cards if you want as well.
I just ask you really look into what they're trying
All
to
right,
do.
sir. Thank you, sir. Mr.
Definitely.
Crosby, do you have a comment?
Yeah, I would like to comment that we have been very busy with budgets up from the beginning of the year till now, but I do want to have a meeting that I've briefed you about what I consider to be the fraudulent Sprinka. Yes, the fraudulent Sprinka that doesn't really exist legally, and all the rules and regulations and great ideas that some people claim to have about replenishing the aquifer to benefit the Sprinka, which doesn't exist. Therefore, in my opinion, there's no justification for things like net zero water consumption, which really means fewer human beings, because I kind of been around it long enough to know what it means. So my viewpoint that I've also shared is we are not going to replenish the aquifer by recharging. We are not going to do it, and no human is going to do it. And you've mentioned, well, we want to slow down the depletion of it, and then you got the cost benefit analysis. And well, how much is good is it going to do? And I asked one of our presenters one time, what's the price to replenish our aquifer in zillions of dollars? Okay, and well, what's the price to replenish half of it? Well, $500 million. Nobody can ever give you the price for the cure for replenishing the aquifer, because they can't, and we're just not going to do it. And so it's a pipe dream that we're going to replenish the aquifer. And so when we do have that meeting, which I would like to have after we have a whole bunch of other meetings that we've got to do.
It's on the list.
Yeah, it's on the list. And there was another one. I got them coming. I got at least two meetings in the schedule, and so on. So we're trying to get it done. So I would like to have a meeting about the Sprinka, which is going to be connected to the flood control district and going to be connected to the concerns of these citizens. But they can rest assured that I am not in favor of a sewer facility over by Mr. Beal's property. That's all there is to it.
Okay.
I want to just make a suggestion. When we do these work sessions, if there's a way afterwards we can have public comment, because I think it's really beneficial when people hear the reasonings why we do certain things, and we're a new board and we want to maybe see differently, to hear from them, because it directly impacts the constituents. So if we can, I mean, I think that should be something we think about, is after the work session, maybe having public comment.
It gets back to originally Mr. Crosby's desire to follow up with the procedures and the way we conduct public meetings, which we haven't finalized yet. We started that process. So that's something that we need to consider when we talk about how we're going to conduct our board meetings, the rules, so to speak, right? The board rules for conducting meetings, something to think about, because we have seen that if we do work sessions and then allow the public to comment, that we get good input from those public comment periods, like we did with the
wolves, yeah.
Yeah.
And we will with the county roads.
And roads and a few other things. So, all right. So I have another speaker that would request to speak. Let me see here. I can't read it. So is it Lloyd?
Trachtenberg.
Trachtenberg. Yeah, there we go, sir. I'm sorry, sir.
Thank you for hearing.
Yes, sir.
I'm trying to make this 3 minutes into 3 minutes.
Yeah.
I also have a complaint about this river recharge program, and I do appreciate, Tom, you're the only one who represents us in this area. You folks are in different districts.
Mm-hmm.
Don't tell us what we need to be doing. I've already discussed this with the people in Bisbee. They sit and try to tell me this whole project is the county's issue. They want it. I found out yesterday that that's a flat out lie. They have problems with their well that are right down here on Wilson Road, because their discharge goes into Greenbrush Draw, where it's filtered. Have you done any studies on geology or hydrology of the fissures underground to see if any of it purifies and gets into the aquifer? No. They're going to need a $2 million additional filter in Bisbee. They want to run 14 miles of 10-inch sewer pipe along the Homeland Security border that, by the way, now belongs to the federal government at an approximate price of $2 million a mile. You want to buy somebody's acreage because BLM, who thinks they own everything and does not, refuses to let you put this plant on their side of their side of the river. So you want to buy property on the east side of the river, west side, sorry. There's a 98-acre piece. The guy wants to sell 20 acres to the county with my tax dollars, everybody else's tax dollars, that the county will then own. I don't think so. That's number one. And I've talked to a bunch of people who have been in Phoenix on the State Board of Water, telling them what this plan is and the idea that the shale layers in the aquifer will help purify the sewage water. That is the biggest farce I've ever heard. Septic systems only work with gravel to purify, not slate, not shale, not aquifer systems. I own an organic farm in Hereford. I'm the only licensed USDA certified organic production facility. You're going to put me out of business. No one will buy the cattle. No one will buy the produce. I don't want to drink sewage water. Nothing is in your filtration system is going to take the chemicals and any of the other drugs that are in the water. This is Bisbee's problem. If you want to spend money and build them a better plant. You got a bond issue that they had to fix their water treatment sewage plant. It didn't work. Now they can't go to another bond issue. Put your money there. Don't send their problem to Hereford and Palominas. My property will be worth 15 cents on the dollar if you do this nonsense.
All right, sir. Thank you so much. Appreciate it. All right. No more speakers. So next we'll go to the agenda items. Let's move it first, and then we'll have Ms. Gilman. So can I get a motion to move agenda item number 1?
Mr. Chair, I move we adopt the tentative budget for the Flood Control District for fiscal year 2025 to 2026 in the amount of $9,948.14.
Second.
All right. So Ms. Gilman, can you offer us an explanation and review here?
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this is the tentative budget for the flood control district. It does hold the rate flat at 0.2597. However, there is an increased levy, so it will require a truth in taxation hearing as well, primarily due to increased property values. The total budget is $9,948,000 with a contingency of $1.24 million. The detailed budget is attached to this agenda item as well.
All right. Any
Mr. Chair,
discussion?
I have
Crosby.
further discussion.
Yeah, sure.
I would move that we make the rate for the budget 0%, which would make this year's collection 0 and make the 2.6 million 0. And then they still have whatever they have left, 7 million or 6.5 million.
Any seconds?
Second.
Oh, you're going to second it? Okay.
Mhm.
All right. So we have a sub motion to amend agenda item number 1 to set the rate to 0.
That's
Mhm.
correct.
That is correct.
Yes, sir.
And discussion. I mean, the more I'm looking at this, water is a very complex issue. And I agree, sir, that people of Bisbee should be concerned about their own area and not get involved in Douglas or other areas as I find them doing on a feedlot that is in Douglas or in McNeil. And as we were looking at all the recharge projects that are all this money is west of the Mule Mountains. There's not doing recharge, in the areas that we're talking about, the Douglas Basin. I just would really like a better understanding of what this money is, why we're doing it, where it's going, because, I mean, I agree with you, Mr. Crosby. I finally do realize that the state owns the water, and we don't have the ability to make any decisions, but this is a lot of money. They already have a reserve. I'd like to wait and do some real in-depth kind of research about all this
So
Well,
Supervisor-
before I vote on it.
Supervisor Gomez, if I may, I have Deputy County Administrator Joe Casey. He would like to make some comments regarding some work sessions we're having to give you more information. And I would also remind the board that this is the tentative budget, not the rate setting. So we can do the tentative budget today as statutorily required, and we can go down from here if necessary, and set the rate as you get more information. But right now, as tentative,
Well, but you-
we set the max that we can, and then we can work down if we need
Okay,
to.
then what we could do, if we want to set the levy, then subtract whatever it is subtract the 2.6 from the 9.9, and that's what the amount would be. Wouldn't that be correct? Anybody got a handy dandy calculator?
So what do
So
you,
9.9 million minus 2.6 million equals whatever it is, and the rate will be zero, and the amount, the levy will be zero, or I should say, the levy will be 6.5 or something like that.
Are you saying you would reduce that we would have zero income coming in for the flood
Zero
control
income.
district?
And then Supervisor Gomez,
2.6 million.
Yes.
so this afternoon we have a work session to go over exactly what you're asking for, the details of what this money would be going to this year. The shift on the direction from the board from previous work session is going to be covered this afternoon at the flood control work session.
So is there an opportunity at that point afterwards to decide if we want to do zero or, reduce the budget?
We can set
Yes.
the rate now. We can set the rate now. It says you can't set it after such and such a date in the statutes. It doesn't say you have to wait until such and such a date to set the rate in the ARSs. So we actually can set the rate. Even though they never have, but you can. That's what the ARS is saying.
May I ask a question then?
sure.
So if we had these work sessions and we didn't set the rate right now, we could set the rate after the work sessions
Yes, that's
Yes, we are scheduled to set the rate in August.
in August. And that would be, they would see whatever decision in 26, then what you're saying, right? So we'd be able to say no, zero in August. There's no deadline before that.
Correct.
Okay. Well, I mean, I think after the work sessions, I would definitely feel more solid in making these decisions then. So,
Okay, so we have a motion on the floor that has been seconded by Ms. Gomez. So we have to vote on that motion first, and then we can go back to agenda item number 1. So Mr. Crosby has offered a motion to set the rate to 0. You've seconded. So let's vote on that. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
No.
no, I'm going to wait.
All right, so the
Aye.
motion fails 2-1. So we're back to agenda item number 1, to adopt the tentative budget for the Flood Control District 2025-26. Is there any further discussion on the motion before we vote on that? Hearing none, motion before you. All those in favor to adopt agenda item number 1, say aye.
Aye.
Nay.
Nay. Motion passes 2-1. Okay. All right, number 2. Can I get a motion to move agenda item number 2, please?
I move that we set a truth and taxation hearing pursuant to ARS 48-254 for July 8th, 2025 at 10 a.m. in the Board of Supervisors hearing room, 1415 Melody Lane, Building G, Bisbee, Arizona, to receive public comment on the proposed tax levy.
Second.
Seconded. All right, we have a motion. Any discussion?
Yeah.
Sure.
If we do in fact decide to do a 0, then we don't need this truth and taxation hearing, right? So which one's first? Determining the truth and taxation hearing, or the 0% or not? Which one's first?
The truth and taxation hearing is first. It covers us should the
Okay,
board
so
not
you're
change.
setting it up to where you're that's the way it looks.
I would say I am covering our bases to
Well,
give the board
just
as much
tell us-
decision making as you can.
Tell us the scenario then.
So the scenario would be, as statute requires, a truth and taxation hearing has to be set. We can do that. And then on July 8th, we will have the final budget of the board and the truth and taxation incorporated into that, covering our bases again, should the board decide in August to keep the levy as it is, and we have an increase in tax levy because of the rate, or the assessed values went up, even though the rate stayed flat. Or if the board decides to do something else, that's fine as well.
Okay, so we're setting a truth and taxation hearing based on what?
On statutory requirements for public
On what
notice.
figures? The ones that we just saw.
Correct.
Okay, which are based on such and such rate. Okay, so once that passes, it seems like you've already made a decision that you're going to have that rate. If you said we're going to have the truth and taxation hearing before we decide on the rate,
So
and the truth and taxation hearing is going to be based on that rate, which is not zero.
So if I can, Mr. Krause, from what I understand, this is an adoption of a tentative budget and the tentative rate, right? So we have an opportunity to modify the budget, and we could reduce this by 153K if we want, which would eliminate the need for a truth and taxation hearing because the dollar amount stays the same and there isn't a net increase in tax revenue because of valuation increases or inflation. We could offer that, or we could do as you would like to do and reduce the rate to zero, which would also do that. That would all be done before the final adoption of the budget and the final adoption of the rate, which doesn't occur till July, correct? Or, oh no, would you say?
August. August is the rate.
August. So we have an opportunity to have input on that from staff and from the public before we have that final vote. That's all I'm suggesting, is that maybe we wait until that happens to do that. Okay. All right. So are we good with the motion? Any other discussion on number 2? All right. Motion on the floor is to approve agenda item number 2 to set up a truth and taxation hearing. All those in favor say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion carries 3-0. All right. All right, the next meeting following this will be the Jail District Board of Directors meeting to adopt a tentative budget for 25-26. So this meeting is adjourned.